Making your way through work Monday takes everything you got. Then Monday night rolls around and you realize there's a shot. You're only 10 points away. All those times when your team had no fight, they're just so gosh darn frail. Then your star quarterback let another deep ball sail, and your third round pick bet on his team. Then go check out our strength where everybody knows your pain, and they listen to complaints. You wanna be where you can see our bodies bring you no shame. You wanna go where everybody knows your pain.
Back to Dad Bod Fantasy Squad. I'm Mario here with Robbie Bobby.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's up, Mario?
Rob, you awake?
I'm awake, baby.
You're awake?
I'm awake today.
Are you woke? Oh, good.
Are you?
Yes. Actually, so I switched up my beverage of choice here. Normally it's some booze, White Claw, maybe some wine. I can pretty much drink whatever just to kind of, take a little off. And I did this the opposite way, which is going to work the same way. I just might talk a lot faster and talk a lot more.
That's
we got
not what
late
we
night
need.
coffee rolling.
Oh, God. What are you doing?
Oh, yeah, baby.
9 o'clock.
Yeah, it doesn't
You're going
matter.
to put in those extra hours after the show, huh?
Yeah. And some TV watching, but some extra hours. Do some things.
A little TV watching.
Rob, what are we doing today?
We have the AFC North preview for the people today. I'm excited for this one. We know this very well.
We do know this division well, and what's kind of great about this is we're going to go do divisions, and I think we have some episodes to break it up a little bit, and we're going to be doing divisions up until probably mid-August or something. Mm-hmm. We're going to hit all 4 teams. We're going to catch guys that we don't talk about a lot, so maybe some sleepers, maybe just people that we just haven't talked about a ton, and kind of give our and it's all going to be talking about redrafts.
Yeah. For redraft, some dynasty, we'll have loads of questions in there, but for the most draft and where they're going ADP wise and what we think, if it's a good value, not a good value, and who the steals are and all that sort of stuff.
We don't have no visuals for you guys today. We kind of skipped on the visuals today.
Lagging.
Robbie's like, brother.
I would have done it. It's okay.
Not
it's
much
okay, Mario.
news either, but we do have a couple pieces of news. And the first one is Dolphins have not opened up talks with Gesicki for an extension.
Yes.
Scary. No.
Not for redraft, but dynasty, it's just something to kind of note, I guess. I really don't know if it's good or bad for dynasty because he might go to a better position somewhere else because he is a talented player. I think we've all seen that. And now in Miami, he has 2 legit threat wide receivers that are going to demand a ton of targets. So he's going to lose some of his.
You know where I would love him if it was this year? Put him on the Colts. Oh,
yeah,
man, that'd be dreamy.
Him on a lot of teams, man. Anyone without a tight end that doesn't have.
You got to find the teams that would use a tight end.
Fair, but I mean, imagine him in Green Bay.
Yeah, solid, but there's Tanyan.
Yeah, but I think he'd do very well there.
I have more fun with like the Matt Ryans throwing him the ball. There's a couple other guys that love their tight ends. Even Kirk, but Irv Smith is there.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll come back to this as we're talking these AFCs.
Something to take note of. And then I saw this.
I'm going to call BS on this one, okay?
Yeah, sure. I saw this earlier today. I believe it was a Mike Silver take, if I'm not mistaken. Trey Lance there's reports that Trey Lance had arm fatigue last season. The 49ers are just saying no. Other people saying yes. And apparently they're rebuilding his throwing motion so that it doesn't turn into a problem down the road for him. You're
No.
saying no.
Not a chance. Not a chance, meaning there's players, and here's why. There's players on Instagram. I think it's Instagram. I think it was Ayuk, George Kittle, and another player. And they're just like, oh, look at us. I'm so tired because my arm hurts. They're mocking the reports. Like, if this was a serious issue, there's not a dang chance that they would be mocking this report on Instagram or on social media.
I don't know. You could take that either way, right?
They were hanging out together. Trey Lance, I think the same night, same day.
They're not saying he has
arm picture.
They're not saying he's got arm fatigue right now.
Posted a picture. They wouldn't make jokes about it.
Maybe the 49ers called him up. Hey, Ayuk, I need you to kind of knock this
all
one.
QBs have arm fatigue? What does this mean? Like, I'm sure all these QBs ice up after a game.
Yeah, it's a good question. Exactly what that means. I think it's more. I would assume if they're going to rework his throwing mechanics, that if they are, because we don't know. I mean, we don't know if they're redoing it, and if they do redo it, is that the reason why? Like, but people do that all the time. Quarterbacks do that all the time. Rework their footwork, rework their looking. So, it's just something to kind of think about. I mean, it's interesting, right?
I'm not all in on Trey Lance, but I don't. No, this wouldn't sway me either way.
It seems like there's news about little things like this pop up here and there, and just more frequent than a lot of other quarterbacks. So it is something like there's reports that the 49ers aren't sold on Trey Lance, that Kyle Shanahan's not 100% in on him, and things like that. So
the team gets reported on more than any other. I swear it does.
They do.
It seems like it's never not like there's reports coming out from San Fran every freaking day about something.
That's a fair point.
They don't, the players don't like those reporters. I think one of their beat writers is getting, I don't want to say blackballed, but it's as bad as that. Like, I can't think of his name right now. He's just getting torn up by the players, and maybe rightfully so. I don't really know.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting. Something to kind of put in the back of your mind, especially in Dynasty and stuff like that. His legs take care of that kind of stuff anyways. So he's worth a dart throw, but just something to kind of monitor. And then I had a question for you, Mario, because I believe right now, the past few months has been the golden age for television shows. I think there was something
past year and a half.
I think there was a COVID hit. They had to postpone stuff, so all the good stuff got kind of back-ended and pushed back, and now they're all releasing them all at once. I feel like everything that I watch is like a 10 out of 10. So I'm just curious what your shows are right now. If you've seen any that you're like, if you haven't seen this, you're an idiot. You got to see it. So like, what are your shows? Because I know you're a TV guy. So what do you?
Oh yeah, I mean, I watch a ton of TV and a ton of movies. And let's avoid Marvel for this. I mean,
I agree.
Loki was great,
and Star Wars.
I like all of them. Yeah, I like all of those. Like, I have fun with those.
Mm-hmm.
The things that have been hot lately, and you see it on all different, like Hulu has one, Netflix had one, Apple has one, are these like con artist shows.
Okay.
And the shows that I'm specifically talking about, and I wanted to bring up these ones because I've seriously enjoyed them. They're so good. I'm not going to think of the one on Hulu's name right now. It's called, it's about Theranos. Have you ever heard of Theranos?
Yes, I have.
It's about
Theranos. Real story.
It's a real story. Yeah. So these are the type of, and I haven't seen this one. This is my next on the list, is Netflix Inventing Anna, which is a real story about a con artist.
Yeah.
That's one I want to check out. But
Fantastic.
all of these shows are in the same category. And then Apple has We Crashed. Have you ever seen that? We Crashed was excellent to me.
That, and then there was an Uber one as well.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
That was great. That was a good one.
All of those are very similar. I guess Uber was like the least conny because I think it was just a fun thing to see the CEO.
Kind of like an asshole, like, how's he do it? Yeah. Good show.
Yeah. So all of those are in the same bubble for me. You have to check out the Theranos one because
I saw that one.
Oh my God, I can't. You have seen that one. Like, you've seen preview or you've seen it?
No, I saw it. That came out a long time ago.
Probably about 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe.
I can't think of the girl's name right now.
Man, because I listened to the podcast on it and all that sort of stuff. Look it up. Well, I'll give you mine. So I have three currently that kind of came out that I was obsessed with and like couldn't stop watching them, and they're all very
Dropout.
The Dropout
Is a show.
Yes.
Amanda Seyfried.
The Bear
Seyfried?
on FX. It's a
Never
cooking
even heard
show.
of
It's
it.
with the guy from Shameless.
Which guy? Oh, is it on Netflix now?
No. It's on Hulu. But dude, it is probably one of the best shows I've ever
The
seen.
oldest brother.
Yes.
Okay.
One of the best shows I've ever seen.
I like him.
You have to watch it.
What's his name on Shameless? Finn? Not Finn.
No. Regardless.
Okay.
But great show. Go check that one out. That one's on the top of my list for the whole year.
We better not talk about Halo.
No, not Halo.
Okay.
Another one on FX that's on Hulu right now. The Old Man. That one's awesome. It's about like a ex-spy that ran away with some dude's woman. And the guy's trying to kill him now, and he's like 70. It's Jeff Bridges. Great TV show. All the actors in there are awesome. It's like halfway through the first season. It's awesome. That one's great. And then Terminalist just came out with Chris Pratt on
Good.
Amazon. Fantastic.
They released a whole season.
The whole season came out all at once on July 4th, I believe, or July 1st, maybe.
I mean, we're skipping The Boys.
He's so good. Oh, The Boys, obviously, like
so good.
That's all we've talked about that before on this, but that show's so top notch. Probably my favorite show is The Boys. But Terminalist, if you guys like a like CIA, Navy SEAL sort of deal, that kind of like war-y kind of TV show, go watch that because I don't think I've seen a better one yet.
It's funny that you bring these up because today I responded to a guy, and we'll get into football right after this, unless you had anything else, Robbie.
No, those are my three.
There was a guy on Twitter today that posted, I know I'm going to take some heat for this, and I feel like I have to apologize to the guy. I'll explain here shortly. I know I'm going to take some heat for this, but season 8 of Game of Thrones was really good, and I love the show. And I wasn't rude, but I definitely said, because I saw all the responses and they're like, yeah, I agree. You're right. Definitely. All of it. And I'm like, man, I scrolled through on this and it pains me to see all of these praises of support. And I didn't mean that in the rude way. I didn't mean to like take pitchforks and attack this man.
No,
I meant it in the sense of like, I can't believe there's this many people that are agreeing with this. Like season 8 really let me down and it was rushed and it took 7 years to get to certain parts of character development. And then in season 8, they were like, yeah, we could do this in 6. No problem.
Yeah.
We can do this in 6 episodes.
Throw the full circle arc out the window and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Like I don't have an issue with like where these characters ended up being. Like this is what I finally came to the conclusion with much debate, much conversation with everybody. I don't have an issue with where they ended up being and what ended up happening. Although it all felt rushed and forced. It just let me down.
I don't hate that, dude. That's a great take. But I don't think anyone can argue the significance and how great that show was. Because it was, I mean, dude, it kind of reinvented TV. In my opinion, I really do think that. And I mean,
do you
like,
remember the moment when like they came back together?
Yeah.
It was like season 7, end of season 6, when they all started seeing each other again. And it was like, yes, I've been waiting. And I didn't even watch from season 1. Like I came in around season 4, season 5, season 6. Wow. I don't even know.
Dude, the first 2, it was like 2, 3, 4 were like unbelievable.
No, I mean, I've watched them. But I didn't have to wait the yearly wait like everyone else.
I get what you're saying. You binged it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying. Season 7 let me down. It was rushed, and they like. I think everyone was kind of all the actors were like, "Dude, I'm done." So I don't
think it was the actors. It was the writers.
Maybe I think it was the actors.
Jon Snow is coming back.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know, to be honest.
It could be a mix. You're not wrong. It could be a mix. I don't freaking know.
I think a lot of the actors kind of had it because they were like filming in the snow for months on end and stuff like that.
Iceland, vacay in Iceland.
Sure. But great show, and I agree with everything. Right now, I think people are saying that because they want to get amped up for the new one coming out in a couple weeks. So they're kind of like redefending it, and in the back of their head, they want to like it more than they did at the end. But I think the new season's going to be crazy. I'm excited for that one.
let's get into
Yeah, we spent enough
our
time on
AFC
TV.
North. I think we just spent an appropriate amount of time. Thank you.
We-
Good topic, Rob. Good job.
Thank you.
We'll get into our AFC North today. And we're going
Let's
to
do
kick off with Baltimore.
Yeah.
And we're going to kind of just go through our players, maybe talk about some sleepers if we have any, which this division's a little tough for sleepers. You kind of know about everybody. We'll talk. Lamar Jackson, go in ADP QB4, overall 49, age 25. Robbie, do you have some concerns with his contract situation?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, for me, obviously not
For
redraft.
this season?
No.
Okay.
I don't. I guess like 90-10, I would say, because I could honestly see like if they don't come to a number where they're progressing throughout this whole process, I could see him kind of being like, I'm not playing. Like pull a, whoever. I don't name somebody in the NBA or MLB or whatever. I could see him honestly being like, look, if you don't give me Deshaun Watson money, I ain't playing. Which would be interesting. And then, which
I
is
like Lamar.
What do you think about his dynasty value with this whole thing going on? Because apparently they're far apart on talks. Like, what if he's not with the Ravens?
I always value Lamar a little bit differently. Like, let me start off by saying in redraft, the contract doesn't scare me at all. And in redraft, I'm very high on him for this year. I think he gets disrespected more than any other QB in the game right now when people put him outside the top 10. The dude is a stud. And there could be arguments that he's not a top 10 thrower. Sure. But he's a great playmaker on an offense that doesn't necessarily tailor around to Lamar in the sense of allowing him to sling it out. When he was slinging it up to Marquise, he was drilling him. And Hollywood was the one that was dropping him. So I'm big on Lamar. I think his arm is great. I'm sick of people saying that he can't throw because he can definitely throw. He can definitely sling it. He has a deep ball. I really like Lamar. For Dynasty, I always get a little bit nervous about rushing QBs. Like, bro, I need you to be like 220, 230, 240. And like, how big is Josh Allen? He's got to be 225 at least, right?
Good question. I'll look it up.
Lamar scares me, and he's getting built. He's getting like there's been pictures about Lamar Jackson lately where he's big. He's put on some weight. He's got some muscles and stuff. But like
Josh Allen, 6'5", 238. 238.
That's big, man. See, that's the type of weight that I want for my rushing QB. Cam Newton. I would, and this is the exact point though that is making, like, I would think Cam Newton has that body that can sustain these sort of hits. It didn't end up happening though. Yeah, exactly.
That's
and I think that should be a concern for all dynasty owners. Now look, Lamar is only 25. There ain't no real concerns about like if you're drafting him dynasty. I'm all for it still. Like it's fine. You have it. I would still put it at 3 to 5 to who knows 10. Like it really isn't something that's going to happen next year or the following year. It's just if I do target quarterbacks in dynasty, especially in some of these super flex, I want them to be like, I could envision you playing for 10 to 15 years because that's what it is now.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. It's tough. And I mean, you got your boy Jalen Hurts, so you kind of went against the grain on that one. But I agree with what you're saying. You do want to have some stability. And if they are a rushing quarterback.
Jalen Hurts is kind of big.
Is he?
I think so.
Bigger than Lamar?
Yeah.
Let's see. Lamar is 5'2", 215.
5'2"?
Yeah.
6'2"?
Or I'm sorry.
Dude, who's shorter than Kyler? You even confirmed it too. You said, yeah. Jalen Hurts is 6'1", 223.
So bulkier.
That's thicker. What I want. I don't care about height.
A little thickness.
Yeah.
To your
Put that weight on.
That's why you like him. I knew it.
I'm actually surprised that Lamar weighs what he weighs. Or like I can see it now that he put on some muscle, and I'm guessing that 215 hasn't changed.
It's got to be right around there. It says 212, and then there's reports of 220. So somewhere in that.
I was going to ask you. I'm sorry. What's his floor and ceiling, Lamar? And then we can go to some situation. Yeah.
In redraft.
Yep.
Let's say his floor is like 10.
I think that's right.
Just
If
with
he's
his
healthy.
rushing, I would say floor 10. I
Ooh,
think
this is a freaking roast.
I I think
You could say that
ceiling
about
he
Robbie.
could
We're
be
the same height.
QB1. He could be QB1.
Robbie, when we went
No?
to Scott Fish, yeah. I would say I don't
3.
want to take that out of his ceiling. I don't want to take that out of his ceiling because the amount he rushes, he could definitely be a QB1. So
That's what I'm
that's
saying.
that's
It's
an
in
insane ceiling. But I
everything has
think
to
in
work out.
in the wheelhouse, it's easy to land in top 5. I think
Yeah.
for Lamar.
Yeah.
When we were at Scott Fishbowl, I did feel like the potato bugs walking around the giant tall
Oh my
stick with
god, me and
Cody.
you were the two shortest there. I thought.
Hey!
I said it to Cody because we were standing there. It was Cody, the Will guy, and then somebody else, and I was the one like on the side
You're
that
just
like
looking up,
everyone's
like,
everyone's
wow,
6'3",
you're
and I'm like
dreamy.
I'm sitting there, I'm looking up at him like, dude, I guess I'm the kid at the candy store right now. Like, what's
Yeah, you
going
are.
on here?
You're
Someone
like,
hold my hand while I'm walking
don't
through,
worry,
go into the
son.
bathroom.
One day you'll know how to draft a fantasy football team.
It was crazy. That's funny you say that because I thought the same thing.
J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards in the backfield. J.K.
Mhm.
goes RB 21, overall 51. Gus goes RB 57, overall 169. J.K. is 23. Gus is 27. We need to for a redraft. Are we going here? Because we talked about this a lot at Scott Fishbowl, and you were like,
Yes.
no, Mario, used to be on him, and I think you're right. I think I was a little bit like, I like J.K. and I do. I like his play. I love how he did it on limited amount of work in 2020.
Yes.
But
His
recently,
2020 play was. I mean, if he
if
he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, that's the problem. I am for wide receiver, running back, and I don't even think I do this necessarily with tight end. For running back and wide receiver, I've been kind of avoiding the ones that have torn ACLs.
I do too.
And I keep promising that I'm going to come out with some work about this and some stats and some data. And I still, it's a lot because it's kind of hard to find the information on who's torn their ACL and when. It's scary that first year though. I mean, like,
I think you're right.
I
think it takes him a year.
And like, look at Cortland Sutton last year. Granted, there was bad QB play. Mm-hmm. Who else started really slow on the ACL too? And Cortland started slow. And somebody else started really slow. And like, it's just a lot to come back from. And I think people forget, they're like, oh, medical advances. And like, yeah, you're right. I get it. They can get back onto the field. That's great and all. They ain't going to be cutting the same yet, buddy.
I agree.
So like,
I think you need a year.
And I don't want this to be a start or a fade or smash on the ADP for these players. Like, I want to talk about them. Like, I think JK could have a year. Like, he could rack up 1,000. It's possible. The TDs would help if he racked up another 10. I think he had 9 in 2020.
Something like that.
But both our concerns are like, not that he gets injured again, the likelihood of this happening.
Yeah. What I'll say about him is he got hurt early enough in the preseason last year where you would hope that the ACL is not an issue. There are reports that no one really knows that the LCL was compromised as well in that injury, which would make it a longer kind of rehab process, which makes sense why they're saying he might not play the preseason. That's what concerns me, is that if he doesn't play the preseason, but they could also just be doing that to kind of save his knee or save him, the extra hits. But you would think that they would want him to at least get some work in the preseason just to get kind of acclimated with getting hit again. And you're not, instead of just throwing him out there week 1 without any sort of kind of rev up for over a year. It's interesting. I mean, if they don't play him at all in the preseason, I'm worried. I'm worried.
What do we think he's going to get carries wise? Because I think it's going to be very similar to that 2020 year. I think 170 to 180.
That's what I would think. I would think they kind of
isn't enough for 1,000 for him.
Ease him in there slowly. I think maybe the back half of the year they start kind of feeding him a little bit more. First half they kind of give him 10 a game or something like that.
Did we just talk into he's going to be touchdown dependent this year? And we like the player, but like If he could rack
Which
you
is-
up, like I said, 9 to 10 TDs, and who cares
Sure.
what his carry work is, this ADP pays off. And that's
which is
and that's the
scary
truth.
because you have Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews
Yeah.
on that team.
Well, you had him in 2020, but yes, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree.
No Hollywood could help.
And then you still have Gus Edwards there.
Tyler
he comes-
Batty,
They got a lot of
your
running
boy
backs.
Mike Davis.
Mike Davis.
That's your guy.
The bowling ball. Boom.
Maurice Jones-Drew is back
Yeah.
there.
Pretty much. It's
John
like
Alexander, LT. They got Devonta Freeman back.
yeah. And anyways, Mario, let me ask you about one of your favorite players. I think he's one of your favorite. I
Now
could be
he
wrong.
is.
Rashad Bateman, ADP wide receiver
drafted him
30.
now.
Yeah, yeah, you did. ADP wide receiver 38, overall
Way too high.
89th, going 89th overall. He's only 22 years old. He didn't play last year with an injury. No Marquise Brown. Bateman's the number one target there. I think there's no issues of Juice getting to kind of what Marquise Brown did last year, 91 receptions, over 1,000 yards, 6 tutties, wide receiver 22, I believe he came in at. So do you think Bateman can
what's
put
insane
those
about
numbers
numbers?
up?
What's that? That yard per catch is like probably 10.8, right? I mean, it can't be much higher than that. That's insane to me
Around
for
11.
Hollywood. That's insane
Right?
to me for Hollywood. So I absolutely can see that if he gets targeted close. I actually see a better year than that if he gets targeted a ton. And by a ton,
You
I mean,
think?
what did Hollywood have? 145-ish?
I think they use
Ballpark?
Hollywood a lot. I don't want to say a lot. I think a good chunk, maybe 10, 15 of his receptions were kind of screenplays. I think they like doing that a lot with him.
He was a playmaker for them. But he
Sure.
was also a big deep ball threat. And
Yeah, but that's what I'm
fast.
saying. Like, say 10 of the 15 or 5, 6 of the 15, he got -2 yards on a reception.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, like 6 games, I want to say 5 to 6 games with Huntley didn't help. Huntley wasn't playing bad by any means, but that is when Hollywood's production fell off.
yeah,
So I think Rashad Bateman is a clear smash at wide receiver 38 for me. You know what? It does
ADP,
get
yeah.
tough.
ADP.
It does
no
get
problem.
tough because there's some wide receivers there that look real good. So like, do you want to do a quick would you rather?
Yeah.
All right. You're supposed to take your time answering it so I could get it pulled up. Like
Hold
a
on, let me
slow
think.
motion.
Let me think
Yeah.
this one through. Would I rather or would I rather not?
All right. We're going to start from let's try to keep it close. Okay, here's a good one. Allen Robinson or Rashad Bateman?
Allen Robinson.
He goes at 71, so a little bit pricier. Elijah
Sticking with
Moore,
ADP.
DeAndre Hopkins or Rashad Bateman?
Bateman.
And then
Hopkins.
I probably would do the same, dude. We fade Elijah Moore. Devontae Smith or Rashad Bateman?
That's a good one. I would say Bateman because he's the number one there. I think Devontae's I think Devontae could be the better receiver, but especially we don't know how much they're going to throw in Philly. And then you got AJ Brown there, so he's going to demand at least 100 targets. I'd go Bateman.
Juju or Bateman?
Bateman. I'm fading Juju. I just don't trust him.
Ayuk or Bateman?
Ayuk's burned me one too many times. I guess I'm high on Bateman.
Maybe these are getting below Bateman now. Burks or Bateman? That one's tough.
That one's tough.
Because, well, like, I think the obvious answer, what the smart play is Bateman here. But if you're chasing upside, whew,
Yeah. I think the upside of Burks, I'd love to. If I have two
they have to have
receivers.
similar upside, right? These are both run heavy teams. This is the most comparable one ever.
Let me ask
actually.
you this. Okay, so let me ask you this. What do you think his ceiling is? Bateman.
I think it's ceiling for this year, top 15. I don't want to get
Top
too crazy.
15.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think Burks' ceiling is?
Top 15.
See, I don't see Bateman. I can see Bateman getting top 20. 15's
Hollywood's
tight.
on pace for it, but I mean, it depends on what you believe about Hollywood versus Bateman. Hollywood was on pace for it before Lamar got out.
I agree, but I think Hollywood and Lamar kind of had a connection for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I think
Well,
that's going to
Bateman
take
won, yeah.
time to develop.
Mm.
I think maybe next year Bateman can definitely get 150 targets or 130, whatever. I think this year it'll be spread out just a little bit more.
What? Okay, so we both like Mark Andrews. We're not going to get into the Mark
Yeah, we
Andrews
don't need to get into
conversation.
them.
I have him tight end 1 this year. Robbie has him tight end 2. Not that big of a deal, although I get shafted for having him at tight end 2. Is there any sleepers on here? Is Duvernay a sleeper here?
I like Duvernay in
Addy.
best balls. I like him late in
Best balls make sense for
Dynasty.
me.
Yeah, I like him late in Dynasty. I like him. I mean, if you have like a 20-round redraft, I would like to have him. I mean, I like him. I think he could be.
So you're fading in redrafts pretty much.
It depends how it plays out. It really, like, if I need a dart, like a wide receiver dart at the end of it, I would go for him because I think he could have a nice year.
Okay.
I really do.
Do you
Like,
are you buying any
Wide
love
receiver.
on Addy?
I could see. Can you see him being like top 40 wide receivers?
Slim. I mean, if you're saying is that, do I believe that could happen? I think that can happen with any deep ball threat. Because that's what he would be.
Because
he actually might kill Bateman a little bit because
exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to count on like the uncertainty of Bateman, just like you don't know because he's never done anything yet. Same with Duvernay. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like Bateman's coming off a serious injury in his rookie season.
Played last year.
Yeah, but still.
We're far from that injury.
Okay. Do you like Huntley in a dynasty?
Not necessarily. It doesn't excite me. Like I think when he played, it was exciting. You're saying I want to get Huntley because this contract extension, it might fall through the hole.
That, but I also think he did enough
to find a spot. Maybe
to get a spot.
Wasn't he a late draft pick? Which is
like,
pretty
dude,
crazy.
Don't you think you'd rather have Huntley than Mariota?
I don't understand why teams don't do this more. Like Gardner Minshew. I really liked the Cooper Rush on Dallas. Like, there's a lot of backups that I would consider before I would ever turn to Marcus Mariota. But for whatever reason, the NFL is just like, oh, draft capital? Much more important than skill. And it wasn't even their draft capital. Like, screw it.
He's like, you know what you're getting. Kind of. Like, there's a base floor.
You're saying with Mariota?
Mariota. Like, Huntley, you could give the reins to Huntley and it could go south. Like,
you know what just drives me nuts too is like there's Hundley, which they also have now. He was undrafted, by the way. Tyler Huntley. And they also have, I think it's Brendan Hundley. Do you know that? Did you know that they signed both of them just to have the Hundley brother? Brett Hundley. They're not actual brothers. But their last names are super similar. It's Huntley and Hundley. And I think they're both backing up Lamar. Oh. All right, that's enough Baltimore talk. Moving on over to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So let's talk. I want to talk the main one because I think this is the one that is the toughest.
Yeah.
Like, I've already kind of confessed I have no damn clue about this one. In the sense of like, I think I know what I know, but like, why don't I take him? Joe Mixon. Dude, last year he finished RB7. ADP is, oh no, I'm sorry. Last year he finished higher than RB7, but I don't have it written down correctly.
He was like 3.
His ADP currently is RB7. ADP overall 11. Last year he put up a line of 292, 1205, 13. He finished 4. 1205, 13 TDs, 13. And then in the receiving work, and I saw somebody knocking his receiving work. 42 receptions on 48 targets. Great catch percentage, but 48 targets is nothing to sneeze at.
No.
I don't even think that's a phrase. 314 yards, 3 TDs. So he put up 15 TDs last year. There's a lot of questions that I have because I have no argument that it could get worse other than hoping, and my argument would have to be just a lie of saying like, oh, those TDs might go to the receivers more. But like, why? They took away some red zone threats with Uzma's not there anymore. And we're going to replace him with Hayden Hurst, who's one of one of the bigger tight end first round busts in the past 2 decades.
Yeah.
That was kind of harsh on Hayden Hurst, but he's not. He was supposed to be great, and he has been. I can't make the argument against this. I can't, and it makes me wonder, like, am I too low in my rankings on him? Because I think I would here goes a crazy take. It would never happen. But if I was like pick 4 or 3 and I'm supposed to take CMC, I'd rather just trade down to pick 9 or 10 and take Mixon.
Yeah. The question for me is, can he sustain the touchdown rate, right? Because
Sure.
it was above his normal by a lot. Like his previous high was 9. So it's 6 more touchdowns.
It's different now. The GOAT is in town.
Joey B.
Baby GOAT is in town. Joe Cool.
Yeah. No, I get that argument. That's a fair argument. They have a better offensive line.
That line is supposed to be fire this year.
I'm with you, dude. I'm trying to talk myself out of it. I don't know why.
Well, I don't get it. Because you're supposed to, like, when we're on this show, we're supposed to look at both angles, and it's almost impossible to see it. And then it just makes you wonder, like, I have him ranked 11.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Why do I have him?
We all do. And
I
just know I do.
No, I
have him ranked 10. Robbie has him ranked 9. Cody has him ranked 8. Alex is the only one who has him ranked 3. And I think Alex is on to the most. And I never give Alex credit for anything. And there you go.
Yeah, I think he should be more. I think by the closer to the season, I'll have him around 6.
I think I'm grossly low on him. And you can't even knock 42 receptions. Like, what are you supposed to knock there when you're putting up 15 TDs, 1,200 yards rushing? Like, there's no knock. That's like trying to knock JT. Hard, dude. His 15, is like 20 or 30.
15's hard to repeat. It really is.
Sure. It probably is.
It really is. Like, even the players, there's like Derrick Henry, you can kind of count on every year, I feel like.
He's going RB7. So, like, say we take away 5 of those TDs, what does it change much? We're gonna have to check now.
It's a good question. It's a good question.
Like, if it doesn't, if you take away 5 TDs, which is a ton, and we leave him with 10, so we're taking away 30 points. He finished last year. I have him at RB5 as PPR, by the way.
So he's ADP 11. So you get him on the back half of the first, you can pair him with another RB. I mean,
if you take away 5 TDs, he still ends up at RB9. So I guess the midpoint between where he finished and the RB9, if you're projecting him for only 10 TDs.
Which 9 was
an offense.
Yeah. It's a weird one. It really is, because me and you have been going back and forth on this a lot.
I'm raising him. This talk I am raising him.
Did it? Made you want? I don't know. Anyways.
I am.
Let me ask you this one,
I'm low. I'm lowest. You're 9, but I'm 10, and it's not right.
Let me ask you this pair, right? So Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. We know what they did last year. We know the talent. We know the quarterback play. Chase is wide receiver 3, ADP 9 overall. Higgins is going wide receiver 12, ADP 32. Second half of the season, not including week 18, because they didn't start their starters. These two were largely equal, right? So Chase was wide receiver 10, Higgins wide receiver 9. Cody wrote if you guys are curious, Cody wrote up a piece on this, kind of about Jamar Chase and what he did last season and how out of the normal it was. And it was just against the grain from all the major wide receivers previous. So go check that out.
Counterpoint to that, and I think Cody mentions it in the article. It's on our Medium. The counterpoint to that is they get him more involved in just receptions. The receptions numbers go up, and I completely see that. But there's going to be certain plays that might not happen this season. Yeah.
That is the counterpoint, right?
Yeah.
It is like, if you think that he's going to repeat what he did last year, the piece that Cody wrote up, it's hard to believe that he can do what he did last year. Just the amount of
our thoughts on Debo.
It's the same concept, right? Like the amount of like breakaway touchdowns and like
Yeah.
those big splash plays like that Chase had were so out of the norm for anyone else.
Let's go back to that. You said 9 through 17. Chase was wide receiver 10 and T was wide receiver 9. Had to spit out that ice cube so I could get on my high horse here.
Let's let him cook, people.
Oh, yeah, baby. I've been waiting for this. Wide receiver 9 from 9 to 17. I know it's kind of an odyssey. You could call it cherry picked, but I just try to do the second half of the season when he's sitting week 18. I'm not going to hold that against the guy. Chase played. Chase had 2 for 26. If we actually add in week 18, it goes T. Higgins, wide receiver 11, Chase 10, which is kind of crazy. Okay. But I'm against adding in week 18 because Joe Burrow wasn't even out there. And neither was Higgins. This people need to freaking write this down right now, okay?
Hold on.
I am put it on the paper. T. Higgins will finish higher than Jamar Chase this year.
Whoa. Dude, I'm not even super high on Chase. I'll take that bet.
Okay. There's a lot of reasons why I think this. So expecting a little regression, maybe seeing a little positive regression in his reception work and like what he does with the ball and screens and all that. Great. I think that can happen. Jamar Chase, the hype around Jamar Chase and how good he is and looked and the prospect that he was has overshadowed Higgins to the point where he is going wide receiver 12. Okay, it's not that low. I get it. ADP 32. But Higgins is a stud. The dude makes grabs out of this world. He looks great. They were largely equal through the second half of the stretch. Here's the other part. The part that is going to happen the most to this offense this season. How do we stop Jamar Chase? Have fun trying. Have fun doing whatever. All I know is guess who that opens it up for? T. Higgins.
T. And Hayden Hurst.
No. I am so
the flying ginger.
There has been best balls that I take Jamar Chase. It's just how the ADP sometimes lies. There's not redress where I'm taking Jamar Chase.
I agree with that.
I'm fading him in redress. It's so expensive, and it's not like I don't think the possibility of him being wide receiver 1 next year is very possible. I mean, it's possible. That wide receiver 1's slightly open.
There's
I still think it's a Cooper Kupp JJ game.
There's a handful of players.
Jamar
like
Chase
4 or 5
would be up there too. Yeah, I agree with you. But like the ADP just tells me like go get your piece of the offense here. Take T. And I've been doing it. I did it in our dynasty. I'll do it everywhere. It's one, dude.
I can't.
This isn't a 1-2. This is a 1A, 1B. Go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
I can't knock what you're saying. I really can't, because that stat that you just brought out there, 9 through 17, that's a stat. That's a stat. I like that, because that shows.
Because he was out till 5.
Hig.
He played all season with a torn rotator cuff. It was a little bit better by the
Higgins?
second half. I don't know if I think he got surgery on offseason. Yeah. He was out till week 5.
Well,
he started 1-2, then he was out for 3 games.
Dude, you're selling me on T. You really are.
Just all you have to do, search T. Higgins 2021 highlights or 2020, whatever floats your boat, and just get pumped, or just T. Higgins overall. He's
good.
I guess he's not underrated because I don't think he is. I think he's perfectly fine where he's rated. He gets hyped on Twitter. Like, it's all there. So I don't want to say he's underrated, but it just is like it's overshadowed by Jamar Chase, because Jamar Chase is an amazing talent and always will be. But like, he is always going to draw the defensive attention that will open up T. Higgins' game fast. No other wide receiver too. This is Kelsey and Tyreek in a different form.
Do you have his stats pulled up?
Who, T?
Yeah.
No, but I can pull him.
I want to see how many targets he had.
I think I meant to get that number. I wanted to get the targets that they both had from 9 to 17, and it was very similar. But last year he had 110 for 74, 1,091 yards, 6 TDs.
It's interesting. You're selling me on him because if he can get to the 130 mark, you're talking top 12.
Technically, he would have got to the 130 if he stayed. Right?
You're talking top
110,
12. Yeah.
110 divided by 14 is probably, that's a lot of fun.
It's not quite 10 a game, but you're up there. I guess my bigger question for you, I'll ask you this, Mario. Do you see any sort of regression from Joe B in this season, or you think he's like into a spot where like this is who Burrow is?
This is tough because I kind of did some early reviews with this, trying to figure out like, was it an anomaly? Did he just go off? But the quick answer for you is at QB6 is where he's being drafted. He finished QB8. I'm not buying there.
No.
It's really
Dynasty's
rich for
different.
a guy that Dynasty's way different.
Different.
We're just going redraft.
Redraft.
It's very rich for a guy that we don't expect to run. Like he ran before the injury, but now they have to protect Joe. Like that's the goal in Cincy. Let's protect Joe. It's too rich at QB6. I think he could have a similar year to last year, but that's still QB8. Like last year was a great year. Also, in the last 2 weeks, week 16 and week 17, again, not counting 18 because he didn't play, he went bonkers. He threw 85 times in those games, had about 1,000 yards, and I want to say 9 TDs.
So that's is that
Gross.
the Cincinnati offense? Because
they
did that in the playoffs.
That's the Cincy offense. Yeah. You know who else did it in the playoffs? T. Higgins. No,
yeah, but I'm saying like, think about it, right?
So maybe that's why that ADP is there.
They got to the playoffs and then they got to the Super Bowl because they threw it so much. And the other offensive line was so bad. Like,
yeah. I think I want to make this quick about Joe Burrow. I think you're drafting at ADP 6, QB 6. You're drafting close to his ceiling.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be disappointed
either.
It's
tough.
Because that floor is probably what, 9, 10?
Yeah. I mean, do you think, because he led the league in passing percent, like completion percentage.
It was
70,
like 80%.
Over 70%.
It was gross.
Over 70%.
He might light the league on fire for the next couple of years.
This is the year, right? So this is gonna be like, okay, Joe Burrow is the guy. Like the NFL is gonna say, nope. Like Tom Brady, get the hell out of here. You can retire. We got our next guy. If he does it again.
We have 4.
Yeah, that's fair.
Allen,
Mahomes,
Herbie,
and maybe Burrow. I think it's even Herbert, right? So Herbert and Burrow. This is the year. I think both of them, they need to do it again this year. And if they do it again this year, it's like, okay.
Well, Herbert's got a little lead on him, right? He's done it for 2 years now. Once as a rookie where Burrow didn't get to.
I still want to see it again, though, with Herbert for some reason. Like, I just
want Cincinnati has set up Burrow so much better for success, though, compared to what LA has done recently. Mike Williams, LA loaded up that
Keenan Allen.
Austin Eckler. They're all aging. Like what happens if they retire tomorrow? He's 27, 28, and he's already had tons of injuries. What happens tomorrow? They're stuck with, if both those guys retired or hurt, they're stuck with Josh Palmer and Jalen Gooten. Meanwhile, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and even Boyd for that. I think Boyd is less than 27.
Boyd's young too, yeah.
T. Higgins and Jamar are less than 24.
Dude, they did it, honestly, man.
Now they loaded up the line. Joe Mixon's 25.
See, now we're getting out of the fantasy realm. We're getting into NFL sort of like, man, I think they did it right by drafting Chase and then just building the offensive line through the free agency market. But I'm with you. Let's keep this plugging. A team near and dear to our heart, Mario. We're getting into the Cleveland Brownies. Ooh. I was waiting for the bark.
We have to go weird.
My dog just got up because we were barking.
You know, Rob, we messed up on the We messed up on the schedule by doing AFC North because I think if we just, put this episode in August, we might have more information on Deshaun.
Yeah, we probably should have waited a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Which we can revisit them in a different
Yeah, we
segment.
will.
When that
We will.
happens, we can kind of get into these
It's just the
players.
Browns.
It is very hard to
It is.
kind of predict where this is going to go. So we're going to kind of give you both sides of the coin. If he is out 8 games or more,
that's where we're
Mario?
going. That's our line right now. 8 or more, 8 or less.
Yeah. So we'll go. So Amari is going wide receiver 23, overall 55.
Faded.
Under 8, where do you have him?
Under 8.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, under 8. I think I still fade under 8 though. And this is more of a
wide receiver 23.
Yeah, this is a me thing, dude. I do not like owning Amari Cooper.
So even if he was in Dallas, like that's not your thing.
It's been a couple years now. I loved it. I think the first year in Dallas, I was like, man, he's pretty good. But what happens, and I've mentioned this on one of the episodes before, and like this is all an eye test sort of thing because he usually finishes pretty solid. I don't know what that. Oh, it's because it was Brownie's.
It's Brown's emoticon. Yeah. Oops.
So I don't know. Amari Cooper, you watch him play. He comes out hot, usually in the beginning of the season. We might not even see that because Deshaun won't be there and he's playing with Jacoby Brissett. But a lot of times Amari gets some sort of soft tissue injury that kind of nags for the season, kind of hurts. We see him slower. We see him coming off the field. We see him getting massage gunned. Like, it just is a different Amari the second half of the year. And like, to think about it, he's only like 27, but I think this is his 7th season.
Yeah,
he's been in the league for a while. So
he came in young.
It's just something that I tend to fade because I hate the second half of Amari. And this again, he has blow up games and you see it come alive, but it's just not a receiver that I'm necessarily. I think his ceiling's always capped.
He is very like, he'll have a game where he has 10 catches, 150 yards, 2 tutties, and then like a 3-catch, 20-yard game. I just think he's going to get so many targets in this offense, even with Brissett.
But this is just a risk that if I was drafting my league right now, I'm not taking.
Yeah, he's tough. He's drafting at the very end of a wide receiver too. And I think he's going to get at least 130 targets. So it's tough for me to say no on that with that. Let's keep it plugging though.
I did want to give you this one thing that I did a few months back. I'm not going to do 2021 because I haven't updated it. 2020, Amari finished wide receiver 15. He was going wide receiver 14. 2019, he finished wide receiver 10, was going wide receiver 13. So he surpassed ADP. 2018, wide receiver 19, ADP was 13. 2017, wide receiver 36, ADP was 10. 2016, wide receiver was 14. Wide receiver 14, ADP was 12. 2015, wide receiver 21, ADP was 20. So what this says is it's not much, but he has surpassed his ADP one season.
It also tells you that there was one season where he was like off of his ADP.
Where he got hurt.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So I think like ADP's kind of like, could he be a low end wide receiver too? I think so.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if Deshaun misses 8, 6, I don't know, dude.
I feel like
especially because it's going to be in the first half and it's not going to be my favorite half of
I feel like I see him getting faded more often than not. And then you can get him for like your third wide receiver. Like, I'm happy with that.
Third wide receiver makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, he does.
Mario, where are you at with David Bell? The rookie coming out of Purdue. He was the all Big Ten wide receiver of the year last year. So like, and he did it in the Big Ten against some of the best competition. So it seems like he knows what he's doing, right?
I do. I believe in David Bell. I believe in him dynasty a lot. So I think the next two people that we talk about, David Bell and Donovan Peoples-Jones, are very much sleepers and would very much require less than 8 games from Deshaun for me to take a dart throw. It's tough to figure out which one's going to come alive. When you look at Donovan Peoples-Jones, like that body, dude, he's got that. it's not quite the Chase Claypool size. He's built and tall, but DPJ is a big dude and he's fast. Has some catching troubles, has some catching issues, but Deshaun could bring out the best in this dude. And excuse me. I'm going one or the other. If Deshaun is less than 8, neither if Deshaun is more than 8.
That's fair. I have higher so I'm kind of opposite with you here, Mario. If we know what's going on with Watson and it's under 8, I'm taking DPJ because I think that fits Watson's playset. I think he'd kind of fill that Will Fuller role a little bit better than I think that's his spot on this team is like that deep ball threat, more so like a big, long deep ball threat. You can go up, get the ball.
Yeah.
If Watson's suspended more than 8, I don't mind David Bell because Brissett works within 20 yards, within 15 yards. And I think that's what David Bell's specialty is kind of like getting open quick off the route, kind of 5-yard hitches, that kind of stuff, which I think plays into Brissett's game. So I think David Bell could be a really sneaky play if Watson's suspended long and people are kind of fading the Browns. Like I really do think Bell could be good with Brissett.
I think Bell's a great target in Dynasty.
Yeah. I like it. I like him there.
I actually think it with DPJ too, though. Like I think they're more of the future than Amari Cooper is.
I agree. I think
that's probably obvious, right?
Yeah, but again, man, I think with Watson, I think Peoples-Jones could be special.
Yeah.
I do.
I'm going to run through the next question is, does Watson change anything for the RB situation? Just answer it like yes or no to that, and then we can move on.
I think if he's suspended long, I'm higher on Nick Chubb.
Okay.
I think they feed him. I think they feed him a lot. Yeah, I think Hunt is Hunt, and I think he's going to hunt it up. And I think
so
Felton,
if Watson is suspended for 6 games, you're a little bit lower on Chubb than you probably currently are.
I think I have Chubb in a spot where I have it projected for like Watson be gone like 6 or 8, 7 games. So like I don't think I'm going to touch him too much unless I don't think I'll touch him unless Watson is like out for the year. Like if he's out for the year, I think Nick Chubb's going to get a ton of touches. It's the only way I think they win.
I've had a tough time. Like I really wanted Chubb and Scott Fishbowl 12, but I've had a tough time drafting either of these. I think Hunt is the person to draft.
He's going so
for
late.
ADP reasons. Yeah.
And
like last year he had an injury, but the year before that he finished top 20. I mean, he had a great year. He's 27. Like Watson or not,
he'll get targets.
Traded.
He'll get the targets.
Like if a big RB goes down, Hunt it becomes a trade candidate. The Browns cash in on that.
Dude, we talk. You know my thoughts on this. You know my thoughts on this. I think one of him or Dearness is gone, and I think they're both good plays because if you can get both of them late in your drafts, I think one of them will not be on this team, and I think one of them will have a predominant role in another team's offense.
I don't think Dearness starts.
If he's traded?
Yeah.
I think who's trading for him?
It would have to be like that's what I'm saying. They would go for Hunt instead.
Well, if the Browns don't want to trade Hunt.
Yeah, maybe then. In that situation, possibly. But like nobody's coming after Dearness. They tendered him. Nobody went for him. He had
the highest rush grade for PFF.
Yeah, like I think he plays well when he gets the opportunity, but apparently the rest of the league doesn't think he could carry a full workload.
It's fair. That's
like,
fair.
Why wouldn't they go after? Like I see what you see. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but my thought is like nobody else necessarily sees this. So you and I are missing something. They must know.
Yeah.
It goes with that draft capital BS because I don't think he was drafted, right? Wasn't he in the USFL?
Yeah.
Not USFL. It was XFL, I think. Just for a little bit. I think he was in XFL.
He may be the Canadian league.
There was one other league. What was the league that
could have been the Canadian league he was in?
Yeah, he was.
Regardless, he was. He wasn't drafted. I agree with what you're saying. I really do think one of the two will be gone, and one of the two will be at least a Batman to a Robin somewhere. And I think
Batman.
Yeah, and I'm like fine with that because you can get Dearness in your last round, And I think, again, even if Hunt's gone, right? Even if Hunt is traded, Dearness gets a bump up in Cleveland. So I think they're both good plays late for their ADP. So let's keep this chugging, though. Where are you at with Njoku? So he's the guy, the tight end. Where are we
I
at?
just end up because Watson situation, whatever and this is again kind of, I'm going to go with the same sort of thing. Under, over, the situation has left me uncertain with Njoku because I don't think Brissett is going to do enough for Njoku, even though this ADP is fine. Like, it's a great dart throw. I just typically go other routes. Like Tunyon's down there. Komet is a little higher, but he's down there. Irv Smith is down there. Like I go for one of those three before I go Njoku. And that's what happens in every single draft I do, best ball or not.
Yeah, that's fair. I would be happy with him as my tight end too. I'd be very happy with that because I think his upside is a lot higher than like Irv Smith.
Well, he's definitely. I think like with Deshaun, he could very much play a role where he comes out with, I don't know, something silly like 600 yards and 8 TDs like that, and that's a solid tight end season because of the TDs. But
it's top 12.
He's not going to get the targets like, again, some of the other guys that you're targeting, like Komet, we're kind of expecting to get 130 targets or something ridiculous, 140, and like Irv Smith probably 90. Njoku, we're hoping for plus. Oh, we want over 70, but we don't know if that would happen. We haven't seen it.
Do you like him in Dynasty?
Man.
Like, who would you rather have in Dynasty, him, Irv Smith, or Tunyon?
So I'm an upside person. It goes Irv Smith over all three of them. Tunyon, I would fear about what Aaron Rodgers does. Njoku hasn't panned out the same way that Irv Smith hasn't done it, but Irv Smith is a little bit younger and a lot more reasons with his injuries. I go Irv. Irv Smith.
I'll say
Did you have any sleep?
He's got to do something this year.
Yeah. Did you have any sleepers on this team outside of David Bell or Donovan Peoples-Jones or D'Ernest? Even though I don't agree with your D'Ernest late take, I don't agree with it. I think it's a wasted pick. I'd rather go David Bell.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have David Bell than D'Ernest, but I'm just saying if you need a late round RB throw, I'm fine with D'Ernest.
Last team on the docket.
Sleepers, no, though. I don't see anything else besides those players we talked about.
Well, yeah, those are the sleepers, I guess. We would take PPJ. Throws. I would throw both dart throws at David Bell and Donovan Peoples-Jones. I would not on D'Ernest. Robbie would pretty much throw on any of them, depending on his roster needs.
Got the goggles on.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Let's get into this.
So here's an easy part. Ready for this? We're both fading Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett in redraft.
Don't take them.
If we want to talk dynasty,
don't do it.
I might throw darts on either of them, depending if the ADP, like if they fall far enough. I almost did it on Kenny Pickett in our startup, and almost did it on Mitch Trubisky.
I'd go for Kenny Pickett.
Super flex. These are super flex.
I'd go for Kenny Pickett, not Mitch.
We're not buying either of the players. We're buying Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. Yeah. So let's just then we're gonna kind of gloss over that fun 10-second talk. Najee Harris. I have some love for Najee.
I'm with you. I think you definitely I was high on him at the beginning of everything when we started doing our rankings, when we started kind of digging into everything. I was definitely high on him. I don't think I was as high as I am right now. And a large part of that is because of you. So thank you, Mario. And thank you for passing on him in our Dynasty League because he fell to me at 14. So I
didn't love that.
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't do it. Well, I can't believe you didn't do it.
You got to know that my love for Javonte is a little stronger than my love for Najee, but they're close. And in our league, in our other dynasty, I have both of them, and I love it. And ETN. Oh,
yeah.
So the big thing that I've been saying about Najee, he was actually on my bold prediction list. I think he's and I think this is kind of not that bold. I think he might finish as the RB1. here's my biggest points for Najee. We didn't see efficiency. I don't think we necessarily saw it in college. I'm hoping that increases some, but I'm not expecting JT. I'm not expecting
Like
Nick
5 yards per
Chubb, sort
carry.
of. Yeah, I'm not expecting that. I'm not. But there's one thing about Najee that I can almost, outside of injuries, which absolutely happen, and especially when you're correlating it with the amount of workload they get, Najee is almost a lock. I would say a lock at 300 plus touches. Like, there's not many RBs that you could say that. There's seriously not, that you would actually go in and be like, I am 98% sure he gets over 300 touches, not carries, touches.
I'm with you. I'm
And
1,000% with you.
we know that's going to happen. They didn't get anybody. They don't really like the committee approach. Tomlin doesn't like it. They didn't really draft I don't think they drafted a running back. Maybe they did. I not one of mention. Benny Snell is the back behind there, and they hate Benny Snell. I don't know why they still have him on the team. They have a new quarterback. They're going to need to lean on Najee. I think people are like, oh, he's not going to check down like Big Ben did. If it's Mitch, we've seen him check down 2 years in a row to Tariq Cohen. 100 targets both those years for Tariq Cohen. Why wouldn't Mitch throw it to Najee? He's going to be your playmaker. There's a lot to love about Najee Harris.
You're saying lock for 300 touches. He had 300 rushes last year. Over 300 rushes.
Yeah, so maybe I'm being conservative.
I think you are.
But like, how many people do you feel like you can lock in at 300? It's not that many.
No. Not a lot, dude.
Like if Derrick Henry stays healthy, he'll have over 300 carries. If JT stays healthy, he'll have over 300 carries. If see, like Eckler, he might be a 170, 200 rushing and 60 to 80 reception. CMC, we don't really know what to make of it. After that, it just falls off. So Najee's the next one up. Why wouldn't I take that as my RB3? I'll just buy the volume. At that point, I just hope the efficiency rises. They added to their line. I'm sorry, Robbie. I'm chopping you off.
You're good.
They added to their line. They increased I think they signed a center and a right guard. Like, they're working on the line. Tomlin is a great coach. He'll improve the line that is there.
And we spoke on this. Me, Cody and myself, I believe, when you were kind of out. I'm not sure what happened last podcast, but we spoke on this. Like, Tomlin is one of the very few head coaches in the league that when he has a running back, he's not afraid to run him.
No.
He's not afraid of it.
Nope.
So, like, 300, I think, is conservative. I think he has the potential to easily get 350 plus. Easily.
Yeah. If he's getting 300 carries, we're both expecting him to come down with 50 receptions.
At least.
House wanted to let us know that the tackles still suck. What are we doing with these wide receivers? So,
yeah,
this is, I'm going to have to pull up the cellular device here because I didn't write down their ADPs like a big old bozo. But Deontay Johnson, I know, goes somewhere in the 40s to 50s. Do you like Deontay Johnson this year? Actually, 38, wide receiver 15.
Dude, I love Deontay the player. I really do. I'm way more nervous about him this year than I was last year. He's only 26. He has proven that he can handle like a huge workload. His drops went down significantly last year, so he's proven that he can kind of take a jump. So I hope he takes another jump. I hope he gets a little bit better. And I just think that Big Ben looked for him a lot when he was kind of in distress. He just kind of like found Deontay because Deontay stayed within 10 to 15 yards on the field. So it was kind of an easy throw for him.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Claypool kind of had a rough couple seasons.
Claypool, was faller in the league.
Yeah, I think Claypool had a couple rough seasons because Big Ben wasn't looking downfield to throw the ball as much as he normally did. So I think Deontay definitely benefited from that. So it's can it sustain? Will Mitch Trubisky look short like that again for 130 targets? 100. He had like what 160 targets or something like that.
Yeah. So in there, one time we did this little quick search. I want to say Mason Rudolph
169. 169 targets last season.
That's a lot.
That's
That's a ton. Is that the second most in the league?
Dude, that's, I mean, who had,
We'll have to come back to
Coop?
that.
Yeah, it was probably
Coop
2
had
to Cooper, right?
191. Yeah.
Yeah.
Devontae had a ton, but I don't know if it was more than 160 or not.
I'll look it up. But yeah, I mean, top 5 easily. Like,
Easily, yeah.
yeah.
So he also, but like there was it's small. Mason Rudolph played, and I want to say it was like still, I can't find it quick enough, but the time he played with Mason Rudolph, he still had about 13 targets or 8 targets. Crud. This is bad.
Yeah, but Mason Rudolph, I feel like is a very.
He still loaded him with targets because that was our argument. Like, will this happen? Yeah, Mason Rudolph ain't any good either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think a quarterback that's afraid to throw the ball is going to look for a shorter target, which is Deontay, because he works within 10 to 15 yards.
I like Deontay a lot.
So I think he's very good.
I
think he's very good.
He is definitely somebody that I would consider at this ADP. Like it would, yeah. We could do a quick would you rather. I know we're running real short of time. I obviously wouldn't take him over T. Higgins. So the closer ones are Jalen Waddle or Deontay.
Dude, I'll tell you what, Conan definitely has me reconsidering my Waddle hate.
So you're probably going Waddle, Michael Pittman or Deontay.
Pittman.
T-Mac or Deontay.
See, that's the one. That's my bugaboo.
It's probably T-Mac again.
I've been taking T-Mac, but I definitely can see myself leaning Deontay on the day of the draft. Like, they're very close for me. Like, very close.
I'd go Deontay if you were wondering. I think people are kind of hyping you and Cody, and not to shit on you guys, but
no, you're right.
Carson is Carson. DJ Moore or Deontay?
Deontay.
I go Deontay there. DK Metcalf or Deontay?
Deontay. This year.
Mike Williams or Deontay?
Mike Williams.
Oh, that's interesting because he's a little further down. His ADP currently is 52.
Honestly, I'd look at if I look at my rankings, I'm sure I have Deontay higher, so I'll say Deontay. I'll change it.
Darnell Mooney or Deontay?
I think, oh, dude, that's a tough one. Mooney has the upside.
Obvious.
Mooney's got the upside, but I'm going Deontay.
I think it has to be Deontay.
He's so safe. Deontay's safe.
So, like, you're not always going with Deontay. Now, Chase Claypool lands at wide receiver 45, 104. He may be the value pick on this wide receiver in this offense.
He's got value. I mean, he has value that late. Like, I despise the player. I really do. But just where his ADP is, he's very talented. I mean, he can play with the best of them. I want to see it, and I think he's going to be in a better position this year with a younger quarterback that might want to take some risks and throw it downfield. So he could be a sneaky like sleeper play that he could kind of come out of the woodworks.
We took him in Scott Fishbowl. You wanted him.
I did because it was so late.
I think I'm buying Claypool more than I end up getting Deontay because I think there is some big playability there. And yeah. Deontay definitely has the higher floor, but Claypool, we've seen what Claypool could be. Big Ben killed his value last year. I firmly believe that. I just don't know if it's going to come back up because it's Mitch or Kenny.
I just think, I think Roethlisberger killed Claypool the past 2 years.
So last question. George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, anything on those? Are those the sleepers on this team? Or I'm not excited for
I'm not
Pickens
touching either of them, to be honest.
But Dynasty, I would probably buy because they always churn out wide receivers.
Sure. I'll take Pickens late. Yeah, I'll take Pickens in a Dynasty. You're right with that. They always have good receivers kind of late. This year, I'm not touching them. Redraft.
I'm fading Freiermuth at like tight end 12, and Pickens just doesn't happen to be a guy that I target, even though his ADP is super low.
I'm with you.
Robbie Squirman, I think he has to use the restroom. I probably shouldn't have said that out loud. He's like,
you gotta call me out.
Hey, he's just got to pee. It's all right. It's not poop. So we are going to wrap it up with poop jokes. Now we are going to wrap it up. If you guys aren't already, please check us out on Twitter at DadBodFS. You can find us on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Dad Bod Fantasy Squad. Eventually, TikTok. We're on there right now. TikTok and Instagram. We'll get some videos rolling soon. Dad Bod Fantasy Squad. And then on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I said already Spotify. What am I missing? iHeartRadio. Still can never remember the one with
all the
major
big
streaming.
ones.
Yep. Dad Bod Fantasy Squad. If you want to listen to as a podcast, we post this recording live. For myself, what? For myself, for Robbie Bobby, peace.